Welcome, everyone. My name is Chris Gore. This is Film Threat on a Friday. It's our Film Threat Friday Livecast. Today on the show, we're going to be reviewing a lot of films, including Drive Away Dolls. The original title of that movie was Drive Away Dykes, oddly enough. Plus, a new horror film called Stopmotion, Ordinary Angels, Drugstore June, Red Right Hand, Tenet and Les Miserables are in re-release in theaters. This is all leading up to Dune Part 2, of course. And the filmmakers behind Red Right Hand will be joining us for a conversation. Get your questions ready. Plus, Alan Ng is waiting in the wings. That's right, Ng the Merciless is here. So let's get things started. Let's get things going. It's time for Film Threat on a Friday. Aren't you glad it's TGI? It's Film Threat. Come on, let's go. I am pretty sure I saw Alan somewhere. Where is he? This is weird. To be clear, I am a straight man.
And I am too.
And I'm super straight. But
I am
also
engaged in a heterosexual relationship.
Yeah, and we're both straight. We want to get that.
Yes, I'm in a heterosexual relationship.
I'm putting it out there.
I'm all on board with Bress.
That Alan and I are straight.
I stand with them and in between them.
Okay, that was the wrong clip.
Alan. Yeah, I'm a more accurate Bruce Lee.
Yeah, that's a more accurate Bruce Lee. It just, it was much easier to make that happen.
Yeah, did you see it? I got my.
I see your buckets. I see your bucket. Do you see my buckets? Oh, you've only got one? I've got two. So there you go.
I was trying to, if I had time, I'd have Kermit's hand going into it.
I'm willing to make the time. I'm willing to make the time to make that happen.
I gotta move things around. So no, we're not.
You know what? I'm doing kind of a major overhaul of my space. That's just going to make it easier for me to function here. But I'm excited. Next week is Dune Part 2. Our episode on Monday of Versus is going to include Danica Comic Book Girl 19. Nerd Cookies, I just communicated with Nerd Cookies this morning, is going to be able to see it in time to it's going to be an all-star lineup. But today, movies in theaters, and there's a lot of them to discuss. But before we do that, let's see who's here. We've already got some super chats that have flown in. Hail from Houston. Finally, I can watch live on my day off, said Not Spelt Dylan, who's also a member. Well, thank you, Not Spelt Dylan. There you go. Let's see. Eric Stratton, member for 14 months. Tom Wilson debuted his documentary on the mixed effect of his fame. I laughed and cried hard often, and some of his style was vlog-like on his YouTube. That's interesting. He's always, Tom Wilson has done like stand-up comedy. He's obviously a staple at all sorts of, conventions and events. He's incredibly well-liked. So there you go.
My wife met him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were at Disneyland. He had done a series of paintings of photorealistic, iconic items at Disneyland. And he was at one of the art stores. My wife just happened to be there. I was getting her something, like food or something.
Uh-huh.
And I go back and he goes, "Oh, I just met Tom Wilson." I go, "Yeah, thanks." He was a really nice guy.
Right. Well, let's go through. So, wait, what is going on here? Let's see. Okay, Suns and Shadows says, been a long week, but it's Friday. All my favorite channels are streaming today, from G&G Daily to Film Threat to Side Scrollers and FNT. Well, what you do is you just watch them on the replay. Even I do that. I was listening to G&G Daily before we got on the stream. So there you go. From Rumble, Ololi Akwi says, oh, and please tell Alan I'm sorry his wife is creeped out by the prepare her for our pleasure clip, but it puts a smile on my face every time. Wait, does it? Does it do that?
Oh, prepare her for our pleasure.
Ask and you will receive.
Yeah, I had a conversation with her about that. Not a fan.
She doesn't like it?
Well, my wife is very conservative. And, it's like I tend to walk that line in real life anyways. And for there are things that I do that she doesn't like that I make public. And, that's one of them. But she'll get over it. She'll stop watching the stream.
All right, that's cool. She doesn't need to watch.
I know. I tell her, don't watch the stream.
Don't watch the streams. From Christopher says, Chris, you love Alan. I love Alan. We're men, and we're not just afraid to say we love other men. I love you.
Yes, I love you too.
I love you too, Christopher. Well, there you go. And I appreciate your support.
In fact, I love everybody in the chat.
Glanuccia says, new game for the chat. Finish this phrase. Chris has 2 Dune buckets because he likes to blank. Oh my God. That sounds like the dating game or
match game.
Match game, something like that. Yeah. Toasty Danny says, is there going to be a review for Netflix, The Last Airbender? I have no plans to watch it. I have too many other films to watch. Alan is going to South by Southwest. I don't know if we're going to get to it, and I'm hearing mixed already. So I'm hearing mixed. I've been reading on social media what the comments on Last Airbender are, and they're not great.
Yeah. I don't know enough about the original. My daughter does. She's a big fan of the series, but I don't know anything about it. I don't know that I would necessarily be able to contribute anything to this.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to say anything any different. So, and it seems like other people have it well in hand.
Yeah.
Sean Condon, I wonder what 12-year-old me would think if I told him I watched Chris Gore live on YouTube in 2024. I don't know. Was that last year? Because that would be weird. Yeah, we'd try to keep this show. This show is 18 plus. Let's just say. I don't know that it's hard R-rated, but it's R-rated. I mean, look at there's 3 buckets on a stream. Eric Shosted says, I wonder if this film can challenge Lisa Frankenstein for least seen film of February. It has not been a great past 2 months for films, but there are some highlights. We're going to get into it. I think they're talking about a movie that we haven't discussed yet. I'm not sure. You know, we're going to save those comments and or may or may not read all of these. Let's get into it, Alan. Let's get with our first review. Because it's a lot of movies are out. This is sort of in preparation for Dune Part 2 coming
out tomorrow.
Coming out tomorrow. So let's talk about.
Yeah,
we're gonna get to Drive Away Dolls, which you and I have both seen. But let's start with a movie that you have seen, and then a movie that you have not seen, and I have not seen. All right, it's just we can't
review a movie that neither of us seen.
All right, let's talk about Drugstore June. Alan, you have seen the film. It's an indie film. Tell us about Drugstore June.
Yeah, Drugstore June. So this is one of those movies that no one in our chat is going to care about. But it's the story of a Gen Z teen named June, played by Esther Pavitsky. She is she's basically your TikTok style Gen Z. She's got her own account. She vlogs every day. And she's an incredible narcissist. Everything's about her. Anytime someone criticizes her, it's body shaming or it's everything you hate about a Gen Z. And what happens is she works at a pharmacy for a character played by Bobby Lee. And she basically, because she's so Gen Z, she anyone who comes into the pharmacy, she immediately diagnoses them and prescribes them Zoloft, which she can't do. And so during the movie, the pharmacy gets robbed, and she gets accused of being the one who robbed it because of her intrusive nature. And that's pretty much what the movie is her trying to figure out who robbed the drugstore, and maybe learned a little bit something about herself. It's got an all-star cast. Bobby Lee, I mentioned, is in it. Bill Barr is in it. Randa Cosgrove and Haley Joel Osment.
Bill Barr.
Haley,
did you mean Bill Burr?
Bill Burr, that's right. Bill Barr, the former Attorney General of the
Bill
United
Barr
States.
is the former Attorney General. Yes.
Yes. Bill Burr. Haley Joel Osment plays an ex-boyfriend. And her parents are played by Beverly D'Angelo and James Remar. So it's got an all-star cast. So this is just one of those movies about a teen who's very unlikable at the beginning and becomes likable at the end. It's it's supposed to be a comedy. I didn't laugh. I kind of it's just, I don't know, Gen Z comedy for me is just devoid of jokes. All it is one weird situation after the other. That said, if you've got a Gen Z teen, this is actually a not bad movie to watch. I don't think my daughter would like it, but I think it really hits the kind of the preteen girl kind of target audience. This is not made for you. It's not made for me, probably not for most of the chat, but it's just a very harmless, innocuous teen comedy. And so, I would not recommend it for any of us, but if you have a young child, a young teen, this is perfectly safe and interesting for them. But yeah, she unlikable, likable at the end. That's basically what the story is.
So do you recommend Drugstore June?
No. But I mean, look, look, the good points is it's full of people we know and we like in terms of supporting cast. But I like jokes. I like to laugh, and it's also got that Disney Channel preteen mentality to it.
I just think it brings up a problem, and we talked about this when you were covering Sundance, is that a lot of the up and coming young filmmakers are devoid of life experience and are kind of, you can kind of see it used to be that you would discover like a young filmmaker, right, in their 20s. And I kind of feel like a lot of filmmakers that are at that stage of life right now aren't ready to be making movies and aren't ready to be expressing themselves. I mean, it's going to sound something, some people are going to be offended by this comment. I don't care. But there really needs to be more of a self-examination and more of a hold a mirror up and a lot of just more self-awareness to be able to tell a story like this. And I feel like a lot of young filmmakers just aren't ready, and they're thinking, well, it's time for me to make my feature. I don't know that a lot are ready, and I think that this is an example of that. I think we're seeing more and more movies like this.
It's interesting because there's a bit of star power behind it. A lot of recognizable people.
Right.
But at the same time, and there is she is a narcissist at the beginning. She is no longer a narcissist at the end. She kind of opens her world up to empathy.
Right.
But again, you're just sitting there kind of watching the story play out, and you are looking for moments to laugh out loud, and it doesn't happen in this one.
All right. Well, there you go. One down, more to go. A lot more. We have a lot of movies to talk about today. So we're going to pivot from that. And what do I have here? What do I have?
I don't know. Did you want to do the comment?
No. Oh, no. Do we have comments on that?
Yeah, we do have comments.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. So
Christopher says, so Jen Zoloft, John Manaling says Gen Z comedy sounds like an oxymoron. And Eric Shosted says the cast of Drugstore June is loaded with a lot of decent comics, which is kind of why we're covering it. So there you go. Yeah. All right.
That's it.
Let's get to our next review. Hang on a sec.
All right. You okay? You still fighting?
Oh, I'm still sick. I talked to a friend last night that said, oh, this lasted 3 months for me. It lingered.
Oh, geez.
So I'm not quite a month in. I'm just barely a month into this. So yeah, folks, just a little under the weather. Not going to stop me. No way.
Well, this is the moment where you cough up a little bit of blood and then you go in for
that hasn't happened yet.
All right.
But let's talk about this. Let's talk about a movie called Stop Motion, which I can promise you from the get-go is not for everyone. It is a dark horror film about a young woman who is a stop motion animated artist. Her name is Ella Blake, played in the movie by Aisling Franciosi. So she's a young woman she's working on a stop motion project at a production studio. But she's also working on her own little side stop motion project. Worlds begin to collide where the fantasy and reality in her head of the stop motion character kind of takes over. There's also where basically she's seeing the images from the stop motion world begin to collide with her real life. What it's also about is this movie is about artistic integrity, because other people try to steal her ideas, and she takes great offense at this. She takes offense at like people trying to steal this. That's my idea. That's my stop motion character, right? Finally, this madness sort of collides in the real world where a full size version of the stop motion character she's been animating just collides with her world. It's dark. It's bizarre. It's and I'll just say this. I know this movie is not for everyone. I mean, the imagery is creepy. It reminds me of the Brothers Quay. If you've ever heard of the Brothers Quay, these are stop motion animated artists, I believe from Poland. Correct me if I'm wrong. Who did these stop motion movies where they would use junk and garbage and like doll heads and weird stuff. And this was in the 1980s. I love the Brothers Quay. It was just so surreal. And this movie kind of captures the darkness of the Brothers Quay. Also, by the way, I used to make stop motion animated movies when I was a kid. I used to have a character named Incredible Melting Marvin, which I would send on adventures. I made like 4 or 5 different short films with this character. The movie is creepy, dark. You're going to be squirming. It's not particularly dialogue heavy, which I really like. And it really hits a creepy tone. And a warning for this movie. It is not for everyone. Rated R, obviously horror film. You're going to see some imagery that is going to be shocking. I believe the movie is in limited theatrical release. It is coming to Shudder. And I'll just say that I personally really enjoyed it, but I will understand if you do not enjoy it. I think a lot of it is just like, I've made stop motion animated films. I know how solitary it can be. And this movie really captured that. Like, you're in a room by yourself, click, you move everything, click, you move everything, click. It's boring, right? And the fact that the stop motion world kind of infects this woman's brain, I really enjoyed. So not for everyone. If you want to roll the dice and take a risk on a bizarre, sick, weird horror film, I think bet on this. But it's going to be 50-50 shot whether you enjoy it or not. I happen to enjoy it, but I felt more of a personal connection. I like stop motion animation that isn't, say, Coraline, right? Or something that's fanciful or whimsical or for children. This is not for children at all. No child should see this movie. It's rated a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb. I would give it more of a 7 or 7.5. And I enjoyed it more for personal reasons. And I like the other thread, the sort of running thread and theme of someone trying to steal someone's art, someone trying to take credit for something that someone else did. And I thought that aspect was really interesting as well. So I recommend stop motion with a warning. It's not for everyone. And even if you trust my recommendations, you might see this movie and say, Gore, why did you recommend it? I warned you. About stop motion. Dark and not for everyone. But I like it.
So it's just creepy weird, or is it like
really creepy? I mean, really creepy. Like just look
bump
up
in the night
Brothers
kind of creepy,
Quay.
or yeah.
Just look up the Brothers Quay. Someone mentioned in the chat, we're gonna get to your questions. Eraserhead. Like, you know how well Eraserhead is? This is like Eraserhead in color with a young woman at the center. It has like that kind of tone where it goes into a dreamlike state that is otherworldly. And like I say, if you've seen Brothers Quay, you will understand. You will understand. So I like the Brothers Quay, but there's no dialogue or necessarily any story to Brothers Quay. They're very much stop motion animated experimental films. So, and they're very cinematic. So I like this film a lot. I like this film a lot, knowing it's not for everybody. So there you go.
We gave it a 8 out of 10. What did you give it?
No, our review on the Film Threat website, I'd say 7.5 out of 10. Is it on Film Threat right now? I'll share.
Yeah, it's not on the cover, but it's it posted. It's just scroll back one review and it's there.
Okay, cool. Well, because it's I think it's important for you to see what this looks like. See the so it got an 8 out of 10 on Film Threat from our reviewer, and that gives you some idea of what the visuals are. If you can see this, it's very creepy, especially when it gets to a here we go. Oh, so Perry Norton, one of our newer writers, wrote this review and gave it an 8 out of 10. It really is haunting. I love the movie poster for this film as well. I think the poster's fantastic.
Yeah.
So there you go. Let's I recommend it. Again, not for everyone. Let's go to your chat comments and questions here and see what you thought. Here we go. Starting with, I'm going to start here with from Rumble, Ololique 50-50 on most horror as it is. I liked Event Horizon, but I may check out Stop Motion just on your recommendation because I'm a fan of old school practical effects like this. Here's what I would recommend. Watch this movie, but watch it really late at night. Where you may or may not fall asleep. It has a little bit of Skinamarink quality where you're like, was that reality? But I like the idea that it is about artistic integrity. The film is about artistic integrity. Is it more gruesome than the sadness? No, says Manny Lamont. The sadness is much more gruesome. The sadness is I believe it's a
zombie
film. Kind of. From
what's that? Hybrid zombie. It's a hybrid zombie movie.
It's a hybrid zombie movie. I want to say from
I believe it's South
Taiwanese.
Korea.
I believe it's Taiwanese.
Oh, Taiwanese. That's right. It's Taiwanese.
Yeah. But I really like the sadness, not like the sadness at all. And the sadness is way creepier and dark. The Nerd Far Away says, if Chris is saying it's creepy, I probably shouldn't watch it. I just can't do horror very much anymore. And I don't like shocking stuff so much now. I don't like how it affects people. Fair point. Patrick Lemire says, Brothers Quay also did Tool's Sober video, or maybe they just copied the style, says Patrick Lemire. Interesting. I don't know about that. The short film In Absentia that the Brothers Quay did is one of the most disturbing movies I've ever seen, says William Joseph Dunn. And John Thomas for 5 says, super chat, thank you for that. Chris will be patient zero of the zombie apocalypse.
I believe that.
Patrick Lemire says, Quay, that's a big endorsement. And MK Solid 82 says, I'm tired of these thrillers where the humans imagine that the fantasy is real, but it's not. Well, sure. And then Sin's Corner says, I'm still annoyed about stop motion. Definitely not for everyone. I particularly dislike abstract surreal movies like this. It was too long and just stupid. Probably could have worked better as a short. I disagree. I feel like part of the tone is the point and getting you in this somnambulistic state. If I could use that, I don't get to use that word somnambulistic all that often, but I'm going to say that. But I grew up watching Brothers Quay and I grew up doing stop motion animation. The problem with stop motion, it's mostly affiliated with like Nightmare Before Christmas, which is totally safe, dark, Halloween stop motion. I really enjoyed it. So, but like I say, I enjoyed it with a warning. You may not like it. So there you go. All right, we're going to pivot. And go to our next review, which I think I'm going to have, with the filmmakers from Red Right Hand are coming on.
Yeah, so let's talk about it now.
I don't see that in the thing here. I'll do it. Just give me a second. Could you put up the background, Alan?
Oh, I'm in the wrong. Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong thing. I got it. There we go.
Hang on. All right, Alan, tell us about Red Right Hand.
All right, Red Right Hand, a nice little action movie. Stars Orlando Bloom as Cash. He's a guy who is kind of at the tail end of his recovery. He's sober. He's kind of pulling his life back together, and he moves back home to his brother-in-law's house. His sister recently passed, and his brother is Finney, and they're raising his niece Savannah, and while on the farm, helping him out on his sister's farm, finds out that Finney has gotten into some trouble, some financial trouble, and the farm has been under this kind of oppressive loan shark situation, and run from Big Cat. Big Cat is the loan shark. She is kind of the what I'll describe as the mountain mafia don. She runs the city, runs the little town. And Big Cat is played by Andie MacDowell, who is pretty incredible as this fairly intense villain. So when Cash goes to kind of figure out a way for Finney to get out of the debt, Big Cat basically tells him, "There's no way. Even if he paid us back, he owes so much interest and everything that you'll never get the farm back. But tell you what, do 3 big jobs for me." And you and your brother will get the farm back free and clear, and Savannah can have the life she always wanted. And so basically, Big Cat has been running a massive drug operation in town, and Cash has to kind of play the heavy for her in 3 situations. He realizes he's not going to get out of this, and so he has to figure out a way to basically get Big Cat. Basically build up enough evidence to throw her in jail. But of course, none of that happens. People die. People get beat up. Big Cat is quite fond of. She's a sadist, and so she loves torture. And so that's pretty much what the story is. Is kind of can Cash do the 3 big jobs? Can he finally get out from under the thumb of Big Cat? I really like this movie. It's just one of those backwoods mafia drug type movies. Orlando Bloom, he tries with that Southern accent. I'm not going to fault him for it. We're here for the action, and there's a lot of actions, guns, fighting, torture. And like I said, Andie MacDowell just kind of shines as Big Cat. It's just one of those roles you don't expect her to play, and she's quite good at it. And people are in danger. One highlight is Garrett Dillahunt as Wilder. He's a former gang member who turned he's the town pastor, and he kind of brings the streetwise wisdom of life along with scripture and prayer to the situation. So yeah, highly recommended. I would give it a 7.5. It's just one of those, if you want to get off the diet of big Hollywood action movies, this is a good one to go to. And I believe it's in theaters.
It's in theaters along with a bunch of the movies that we're talking about today. I mean, a lot of the films today are in limited release. So if if our recommendation or non-recommendation makes sense, then check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, let's we're gonna pivot to a different film. Give me a second here. Okay. I think we should talk about this movie next because you and I have both seen it. Some of these films, Alan and I kind of go off the thing where we divide and conquer. So we both try to see as many movies as possible, but then you get a week like this where a bunch of things come out. And we
a lot of indie films. A lot of
indie films. So we kind of just do the best that we can. So, but I think it's important to remember that, some people have accused Alan and I, both of us, of being patriots. Decide for yourself. I love breasts. Women look at other women's breasts. Gay men love breasts. One thing that could unite the world is breasts and cleavage. I really believe that. I truly believe in breasts. I don't know why you just...
What does that have to do with this movie?
Why did you just play that video? I don't know what that means.
Great, thanks.
No, I was just stalling for time. All right. Let's talk about the movie Ordinary Angels. Ordinary Angels stars Alan Ritchson as a family man married to a beautiful wife. We see him at the birth of one of his children. And then 5 years later, his wife passes away. He is now burdened with not just the hospital bills from his wife's passing, but now raising 2 young daughters on his own. He works as a roofer, doing odd jobs, just trying to make ends meet as he's trying to raise his kids. Then one of his daughters needs a transplant.
A liver transplant.
A liver transplant in order to survive. So 5 years old. This is after his wife passes away, all of this, and he's stuck with over $400,000 in hospital bills. The story somehow makes it into the media, and a woman named Sharon Stevens, played by Hilary Swank, learns of the plight of Ed Schmidt and his family. She has her own hair salon and decides, I'm going to raise money. I'm going to raise money to help Ed and his family. And she kind of insinuates herself into his life. Hilary's she's a spark plug, also dealing with her own problems. She has she's divorced, has a son that's somehow estranged from her. Reason being is that she's an alcoholic. She doesn't have her life together. And kind of as almost therapy for herself, she's looking to try to help this family as a way to work through her own pain. This is very much, I believe this movie is from Angel Studios.
No, it's from
sorry.
Yeah, I believe it's Lionsgate.
Lionsgate. My apologies.
It's their faith division, yes.
But it is one of their faith movies. That's why I got mixed up with Angel Studios. But it is within the faith. Now, the faith that's in the film is not super forced. I mean, he goes to church in a couple scenes, and he's really just looking for guidance because when everything goes wrong for him and his daughter, you see her physically deteriorate, where, she's number 5 on the list for a transplant. And he's been told his daughter's got about maybe a year to live. If she gets the transplant, she'll survive or not. I don't want to go into too much in the third act, but it is a nail biter in the end where the whole town comes to rally and help him. It's very much a family movie, and I'll admit I got choked up during watching a lot of this film. And Alan Ritchson, all I can think while watching that guy, he is physically imposing. I mean, he is a big dude. He's in that show Reacher, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so everyone keeps recommending it to me. Yes, at some point I'll get to it. But he's been rumored to be playing Batman, right? In the James Gunn DC universe. He's been one of the names that's been bandied about to play Batman in the new DC universe. I think it would be a great choice. And I saw him in a movie where it's not an action movie. He's just putting on roofs on houses. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, this guy could, perch on a corner of that roof with a cape on and be Batman. But this really is one of those heartfelt family movies. The stuff with the kids is really heartwarming. And Hilary Swank steals the film. I mean, Ed Schmidt, as played by Alan Ritchson, is very much like buttoned up, like, I just want to help my kids. I don't want any help. Don't help me. Don't help me at all. I can do it all myself. And Sharon, this woman, Hilary, played by, Hilary Swank, she's a firecracker. She's not going to take no for an answer. And I like that about her. She does a bunch of fundraising. She has meetings with like the hospital, you can see the trailer. All of this stuff is in the trailer. And she's the light of the film. She's this beacon of positivity, but coming from a very dark place where her son doesn't respect her anymore. Her grown adult son doesn't even like his mom. She struggles with alcohol, and you see that in the film, but she is driven to help Ed Schmidt and his family and arranging to get this liver transplant.
Yeah. What I like is that she inserts herself into this family's lives in a very weird and creepy way, almost to the point of annoyance midway through the movie.
Right.
And you realize that's intentional. This idea that she is this, kind of a savior, a messiah to this family. There's a payoff to it in terms of why she's like that, and why, and just how, like I said, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a reason she does that, and it's addressed in a very down to earth and real way. I too do like this movie. The trailers make this movie look sappy as hell. It is sappy, but it is an inspiring story. It's a true story for
it's a true story. It's unbelievable, and I couldn't believe that they could make the story of a young girl, 5-year-old girl, getting a liver transplant into practically an action movie by the end. Like, you're on the edge of your seat. And I saw it with a crowd on Monday. It was the Screen Unseen, which is where they show a movie that's coming to theaters and you get to see it a little bit early. Right. And it's generally crowded for those kind of things. I couldn't believe it. People clapped at the end. Yeah. You saw, I heard people crying, not me, but people behind me were in tears. I mean, it's really edge of the seat at the end. I'm not sure if the real story is really like.
They show the big moment, the real.
Right.
The other thing is, this movie gives a message that we haven't heard in a very long time, and the message is communities help each other.
Yes,
there's this thing in the world called charity. There's this thing where we volunteer our time to help people. And this is a movie that's all about that. It's giving, it's getting out of our comfort zones, going and helping someone who's in need. This used to be the big story back when this movie was made. I believe it was the early 2000s. There was a time where we all helped each other, where we heard stories, human stories, humanitarian stories in our local communities, and people would go out and help. And for some reason, we've hunkered. Yeah, since the pandemic, we've bunkered ourselves in our homes, and we just don't connect with people anymore, and we don't help people anymore. And I think that's what this movie is. It was meant to be. It's just that call to action for charity.
No, that's what struck me as I'm sitting in the theater and I'm hearing people like weeping, and people clapped at the end. And I'm sitting here in a room with strangers watching this film, and I'm like, we don't even see movies like this. Do people even think this way? We live at a time that is so dark, where people are so quick to judge others in cruel ways, in incredibly cruel ways. I'm mostly talking about social media, of course.
What's that whole punch a Nazi kind of attitude?
Right. Where this is just a community rallies around to help a family. We could use more of that, not just at the movies, but in real life. And it just struck me like, wow, we become so cynical that a movie like this, I mean, I can't imagine this movie getting a bad review. I'm sure it's going to get good to great. I don't know what others are saying about it.
The negative, I think, if people don't like it is overly positive.
Right. Maybe that's part of it. It's got an 8.2 out of 10 on IMDb, 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. That sounds about right.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah.
That sounds reasonable. That's reasonable for this movie. But I really enjoyed it. I got sucked in. I kind of groaned when I saw the beginning of the movie, and I'm like, oh, what did I sign up for? And then total sucked in. And Alan Ritchson, the strength that he shows as you don't see this very often in movies. Okay. This could lead to a rant. A good father that's not inept. He's his flaw is he's proud. He's too proud. He doesn't want to accept help from the community. He really doesn't want help from Sharon. And she's the sort of catalyst to like, hey, I brought muffins. Let's go through your bills. And they sit there. It's a really funny scene where they're going through all his bills. And he says, okay, this pile is urgent. And this pile is really urgent. And like, it's just like going through like how, like, I mean, there's some, there's some good laughs throughout the film to kind of break the tension. But I really enjoyed the film. And when I saw it's based on a real story, I don't know. I was really taken aback. And it doesn't, okay, for those that may be turned off by something that's quote faith-based, it's not pushing anything.
It's very light. The faith in this is very light.
And you know what it does? I can't believe that even this movie is considered a faith-based movie. This is just a normal movie from 20 years ago where people who go to church are just regular people, which exists in real life. They're just regular church-going people. Like there's like 2 or 3 scenes where they're just at church, and I mean that's it. It's a part of the character's life, right? The character, I mean the real person, Ed Schmidt. And Alan Ritchson is, for someone of such physical stature, really shows a vulnerability that you rarely get to see, right? Which is why I'm thinking he could really be Batman. He could be a great Batman. I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, we've heard that. That's that's stupid. But look, I just, you know what? Recommendation from me, 7.5 out of 10, easily.
Yeah.
And if you really, really like, just a heartfelt, good, solid story with a strong, good father. He's not inept. He's not. And I do like the stuff where Sharon is like trying to like, what do you mean your business? You should be doing this. And she's kind of like just giving him advice. And he, it's not like she's the girl boss. He's just broken from.
He's overwhelmed. He's overwhelmed by life, by everything. His job.
Yeah.
And Sharon just basically comes in and helps organize his life, give it structure and order. That's her job. And she helps him muddle through the debt, the high amount of debt he's in. Right.
So there you go.
All right, we got a lot of comments about this.
Okay, so we'll get to it. Alan, do you recommend Ordinary Angels?
Oh, absolutely.
Same.
Seeing the trailers. Look, I believe I saw this trailer before the pandemic. This movie has been long. It's been a long time for this movie to come out, and usually that's a sign of it's a bad movie. This one is good. It's fun. It's inspiring. Highly recommended.
Great. Hey, let's start with Paulie from the Latino Slant for $4.99. I want to see this swank film. As a man with almost 9 years sober, how did they depict her recovery? Really well. They showed her struggle. They show her like, getting rid of all her alcohol and then falling off, falling off.
She's forced to go. She's forced to go into recovery.
And then she forces herself. They show the recovery process. They show her kind of laugh it off at first. Whatever, I'm fine. And then they really, really lean into it where she gets it together. And I don't want to say what happens, but look, I'm not going to lie. I did not cry at this film, but I got choked up. Especially at the end. And the thing is this, like, modern movies are so cynical. Fathers and men are portrayed like idiots in most modern movies. It's girl boss or go home, right? It's religion is stupid. No, seriously, this is modern movies. Oh, you're religious. Okay, you're an idiot. I'm tired of it. Can we just have some positivity? Can we just celebrate good things happening? And like you said, Alan, at the end, like communities help each other. That's the big message in this movie. Paulie, 100% you should be going to see this film. So there you go. I'm gonna, oh my gosh, we have a lot of comments here. I'm gonna get to it, folks. I'm gonna get to it. Yeah. Wait, no, we're gonna get to that. That's a comment about another movie. Tom Siebert. Hey, Tom, Good to see you. Andie MacDowell is one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in real life. Even more of a knockout in 3D than the movie screen. Mimi Rogers and Angie Harmon also. Thank you, Tom. Goober says, breasts aren't fat. They're filled with hopes and dreams.
Yes.
That's our
the
next
comment
video.
of the day, by the way.
That is the best comment of the day. Toasty Danny says, Ordinary Angels has a 100% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. That doesn't surprise me. The audience I was with clapped. You could hear people crying. Again, not me. I'm going to emphasize that point. But I did get choked up. I'm sitting here going, because also I have kids. It is my only fear in life. I don't fear my own death. Okay. I fear anything happening to my children. Mm-hmm. And when my children were at a young age where my job is to protect them. Oh, I was the a-hole dad. I was the a-hole dad. We're seeing, like, I'm not gonna go off on a tangent, but I'll say this. There are a lot of reasons to feel like you want to protect your children, in particular these days. So that part of the movie where you see, Ed's like frustration over like, how do you fit? Look, any man or good parent is going to protect their children with their lives, right? They put themselves in harm's way to protect their children. Any good parent. So we're seeing a lot of dark things happening in the world where parents are cast aside. I would not be as kind if that were happening back in the day. Although there was a teacher that tried to give my son Ritalin, and I was like, no, nope. You need to, you know what? He just needs to. I got him a skateboard, and he just exercise. Get out of, you need to go outside and do stuff and play like a normal boy. I'm not gonna drug my kid because you're a lazy teacher.
Yeah, that's a whole other discussion. Yeah,
that's a like no.
I've gone through that stuff too, and it's like no, maybe she just needs to not be in front of the TV all the time.
There's a lot we could, but all I'm saying is that I see what's happening with parents and kids and teachers today. I don't know how I would hold back because I just don't know how I would hold back. That's all.
That's what my kid goes through today. It for some reason the government thinks that they're better parents than we are. That I'm not teaching my daughter the things she needs to be learning.
Well, that attitude needs to go away quickly.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. You know what? Look, if the parents are allowing stuff to happen to their kids, I don't know what to say. Yeah. That's on them.
Be involved. Absolutely be involved in your kids' lives.
Yeah, have dinner every night where you talk to them with no devices. How about that? Try it. Patrick Lemire says, Swank and McDowell, new movies with people who have been laying low is an emerging theme. Yeah, well, they're just solid, right?
Yeah.
There are very few movie stars that exist today. Very few movie stars that exist.
Yeah. Look, Hilary Swank, Alan Richardson pretty much make the movie.
Yes. Yes.
Faith movies have always traditionally been eye rollers. You put quality actors in the lead roles, less of an eye roll.
But I don't see this. It's not a faith movie. It's literally, look at movies from the past. Religion was just woven into the story, not a big part of it, but you had characters who were religious or whatever. Religion was a larger part of everyday life, at least as portrayed in Hollywood movies, and it wasn't a big deal. Yeah. It was just there.
Yeah. I'll push back on that by saying, I've certainly, the churches that I've been attracted to and that I've attended are the ones that are fairly community-based and charity and volunteerism heavy. And my current one, like my current church during the pandemic, I was out there almost every Saturday passing out food through these drive-throughs, just to kind of help, and I hate to say it, but helping others makes you feel pretty good. I don't hate saying that, by the way.
It's as weird as it sounds. I don't want to get too specific, but I'll just say there's a lot of work being done with people dealing with depression, and you've got people being prescribed pills to help with mental illness, right? I don't think a pill is ever a solution. Exercise and diet and get outside yourself.
Mm-hmm.
In some of the darkest moments of my life, having struggled and gone through things, one of the best things I ever did was volunteer to help. You get outside of yourself. You said it, Alan. You get outside of yourself and you go and volunteer to help other people. You realize how small your problems are.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I'm whining in my head, I allow myself to be upset maybe for less than a day. That's it. That's all you get. Get outside yourself. When you go help others and you see other people's circumstances and what they're dealing with everything that you're struggling with is so small in comparison is ridiculous. So to me, best form of therapy is go help others.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Or mimosas. Bottomless
how the world survived this far.
I was kidding. I'm kidding about that. I'm kidding.
Okay. More comments.
Yes. Alan nailed it, says the nerd far away. Not sure what that comment, but Alan will take it. Bill S. Preston, Esquire. Chris didn't cry at this movie, but he'll cry for a nice pair of boobs. Guilty as charged. CD Stein 69. It's nice to see a feel-good movie that has no modern day audience agenda, but an excellent message in a heartwarming story. That's what this is.
And done well.
Yeah, and very well done. CD Stein 69 says also a good, competent father, not a buffoon, not weak and present. It's sad to say examples of that in Hollywood are in short supply. That is a fact. Yeah. Patrick Lemire says Hollywood wants to know why wasn't Pedro Pascal given this role?
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing about the movie is the movie doesn't care about diversity or any of this stuff. It's just like, nah, we're just going to tell the movie as it happened in real life. So you don't
to answer your question, Brock, no Asians.
Yeah, there were no Asians. Not even as like a doctor in the background.
Or doing laundry or cooking meals.
Yeah, like the dry cleaner. Why not?
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Yeah, so I take it back. I don't recommend this movie. Yeah.
Alan. Hey, Believe in Yourself just became a YouTube member. We appreciate that. Become a member. You get access to the Film Thread Discord where you can have. I have a comment about something that was happening in the Film Thread Discord. Might have to be a Gore Rant. Okay, I'm going to do it after this.
Sadly, yeah. So I haven't been there in a couple days, so I haven't.
Yeah. I check in every couple weeks, and I saw a debate that was happening, and I weighed in, and I was kind of an a-hole. I don't know. No, but just like I was. Anyways, but thank you, Believe in Yourself, and then also we post videos specifically for members only. So look for those. There's a whole playlist, members only videos. John Manling says, bought the tickets for this movie during your review. Yeah. I was sold. Looking forward to watching this tomorrow. Yeah, it's just, what's weird is you look at this movie, it's like, why don't they make movies like this anymore? I mean, that's a question. Why don't they make movies like this anymore, Alan?
Yeah. We need more movies about the message and not about the message.
Yeah, women, you don't need men. Work, don't have babies. Guys are dumb. Yay! Yeah. Life. Why am I sad with my cat?
Yeah. Or maybe this idea that maybe God can help you out. Even in Right Red Hand, when Cash's family was falling apart and people were dying left and right, he was encouraged to pray, and it wasn't exactly the most uplifting prayer, but he did pray.
Right. All right. Well, look, we both recommend Ordinary Angels, and I think that's a surprise. But you know what? We're gonna pivot. Huh?
Yeah, almost afraid what we're gonna pivot to.
No, we're just gonna pivot to something.
Okay.
We're gonna get rid of that. And it's time. I haven't done this in a while. Folks, by popular request, I'm angry.
A freaking IKEA chair
So if you become a member of the channel, you get access to our Discord. All right, which is great. You can talk with Alan and I. We've got different forums, movies in theaters. There's even a music and a gaming forum. There are the whole forum about Film Threat episodes. And I happened upon a little forum conversation that was going on in our Discord between a bunch of people about Film Threat and what we stand for. And someone was suggesting, I think the person's name was Gamera, was suggesting that, hey, I think Film Threat should just do indie movies on Wednesday and just do the Hollywood movies on Fridays. So you've got the big movies and whatever, and then the little indie movies. I disagree vehemently. Since the beginning of Film Threat, I have been tricking people. I literally have been bamboozling you, tricking you into discovering indie films by seducing you with coverage of mainstream movies. Now, Film Threat, for the most part, kind of mocks Hollywood. We make fun of it. And look, when a big blockbuster movie is amazing, I'm all for it, right? We'll praise it. But for the most part, Hollywood is crap. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't garbage indie movies as well, or indie movies we can't recommend. But I'll just say that part of what I've been doing since the beginning of Film Threat, and even when I was at G4 TV, I would do DVD and I would review, well, the latest Transformers movie by Michael Bay, whatever. I think the only decent Transformers movie is the first one. After that, it's been diminishing returns. But what I will do is I will sneak in a review of an indie movie, or maybe a trauma film, or something from Full Moon Entertainment, or a weird filmmaker that you've never heard of, like Kaveh Zahidi. The whole point is to leak subversive ideas into the mainstream and allow you to decide what to think about them. This is something that Matt Groening, when he created The Simpsons, had a whole little speech about how, you know, if you took any episode of The Simpsons and you did it as live action, it would get canceled or banned or whatever because of the commentary about drugs, religion, government. I mean, The Simpsons comments on so many big issues and gets away with it. Why? It's just a cartoon. Well, Film Threat, what we've done from the beginning and will continue to do, is we cover mainstream entertainment, whether it's a Netflix series, a Disney Plus series about Marvel, Star Wars, whatever, or, you know, a big mainstream movie, and we weave in coverage of indie films. The ones that are worth checking out for the most part. I mean, if a movie is in theatrical release, it's an indie movie and it's not good, it's not going to get a great review. But this has been Film Threat's mission from the beginning. I want to thank everyone in the Discord who defended me, but I rarely I go there and I'm all about positivity on the Discord. This is the first time I was like, I disagree. I've been doing this for a long time. I think it's better to weave in the indie movies with the mainstream movies so that you learn about them. So you may be attracted to like the Dune Part 2 picture on the thumbnail, but then you learn about some other movies. It's our mission. We're going to continue to do it. It's also what makes Film Threat different from other outlets. Because I believe this. I believe that if you only focus on Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, you would be depressed because most of that is garbage. If you balance your media diet with, God, I just watched this terrible Marvel show, but then I saw this indie movie, Ordinary Angels. I saw this garbage Star Wars thing, but then I saw this other movie that gave me hope. Or I took a risk on some weird indie horror film that was on Shudder, and it was actually pretty good. A balanced media diet of mainstream Hollywood stuff mixed with indie projects and films that are outside of your mainstream Hollywood, I think is a diet that will lead to more happiness as a moviegoer. That's why Film Threat exists, to point these out. We'll continue to cover mainstream movies, and we're going to weave in our coverage in a subversive way of independent films. And that's my freaking rant, Alan.
A freaking IKEA chair.
All right. Do you have any thoughts on that, Alan? I'm just curious.
Yeah. So one of our great Discord members just said, "Hey, maybe if you did Wednesday indie, Friday big studio." I mean, it was just I don't know. Okay, so I wasn't there. It just felt like a
No, it was just a suggestion, and I was like, no, because I want other people to find out about indie movies.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. It's just a suggestion.
The whole point is the conversation. The point is the conversation. I think, you and I, we don't always agree, but I respect your opinion.
No, but
and
yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's good to talk about what's out there, what everyone has access to, what's being forced upon everybody, and then sprinkle in the little gems we find here and there.
Right.
Like RRR. I mean, people accuse us of being on the bandwagon for RRR when we reviewed it 1 week after it came out.
Yeah.
It's hard to get on the bandwagon that early, and it's just, risking going to a movie that you'd never heard of, bingo. We hit the RRR bingo.
RRR bingo.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of where we're at today with Hollywood not having enough films out there to give us. This is the time to go see independent films. And if you have a Regal Unlimited or AMC, A-list, you have access to movies, to foreign movies, to independent films, and it's in your subscription. So give it a shot. Definitely.
It's just, if you have a balanced media diet, you're not going to be depressed when the latest Star Wars movie turns out to be garbage, which is all the time now that Disney owns it. I mean, I just, don't get sad that all your IP is being destroyed. There are original movies being made by indie filmmakers. You need to support them because they're only going to get bigger, especially as AI and more tools are available to indie filmmakers. And I also think you're going to see a lot more Hollywood people just go out and make a movie independently. And then it may end up being distributed by a larger studio, but they're going to go off and make independent films. And Cameron Scott just became a YouTube member. Hey, join us on Discord. The link will be in the community tab. Look for the.
By the way, Ordinary Angel. A family film. Take your family, go see it. Absolutely safe and inspiring for the kids as well.
Right. Hey, Bruce Leroy Jenkins for 5. Alan is on a roll today. I totally agree. We need more movies with positive messages and a lot less with the message. I knew what you're referring to. Chris and Alan built the RRR bandwagon, then drove it around picking people up, says Bill S. Preston Esquire. It really made me satisfied when Critical Drinker did a video on RRR, 6 months after it came out, but I'll take it. You know what I mean? It's like vindication. Everyone has seen that movie except for Gary. Except for Gary from Nerdrotic has still not seen RRR. So there you go. Not all great or good films are mainstream. Film Threat has increased my viewing bandwidth, says Jim T. There you go. And Christopher Moonlight Productions says the Quantum Terror would be nothing if not for Film Threat. If I ever get overbearing with my gratitude, forgive me, but I feel like I can never express it enough. Hey, that's fine, Chris. And obviously, we will be watching your career with great interest. Just quoting Senator.
Prepare for our pleasure.
Alan. Benjamin for 2 says, thoughts on the True Detective finale. I did not watch it. I watched the first episode and peaced out. I hear it's dumb.
Yeah. And got renewed for another season.
Well, there you go. But every season is a different cast and a different story.
No, well, same showrunner. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I don't think it's you know what? The first season is one of the greatest seasons of TV, along with Breaking Bad season 1. It's Geek Truth 64. In general, people click on a video for the big Hollywood films. So the best way to get the lesser known movies out there is to sprinkle them in with those mainstream videos. Boom. Comment of the day, Geek Truth 64. That's why we exist. It's like, oh, I got sucked in. Look, the big mainstream Hollywood movie that's opening this weekend is on the thumbnail. And then Alan and I throw you stick around and you stick around, you learn about a bunch of other movies. Hey, Zodlander, member for 5 months, says the Drinkers trailer Rogue Elements looks cool. We'll do a trailer reaction at the end of the show.
That's his movie?
It's Rogue Elements. So
That's
the
the
trailer
Drinkers.
just dropped. We're going to do that at the end of the show, or maybe after this review. We have a special guest coming on. So we'll do it today, Zodlander. By request, other people asked. We're doing it. There you go. Okay, a couple more quick comments. We got to pivot. Yes, thank you. I got to that one. Yes, we can stop highlighting things. Lee Kindler says variety is the spice of life. Sometimes you're in the mood for Solaris, and sometimes you're in the mood for Scanner Cop 2. Yes, that's why like Planet Dune is such a great pairing with Dune. Planet Dune, starring Sean Young, by the way. I reviewed Planet Dune a couple weeks ago. We were talking about Dune knockoff movies. So there you go. Yeah, it's like, that's why I'm not an elitist with this stuff. I like, Trauma films, Full Moon Entertainment, the Puppet Masters series, and, Oppenheimer. You can like all of those things. From Rumble, Lord Shax. Chris Allen, did you see Netflix's post on X about the SAG Awards? It's being torn to shreds. No one cares. Yeah, the SAG Awards, I believe, are going to be on Netflix. Yeah. Nobody cares.
Oh, so we're not doing a watch party of the SAG Awards?
I'm going to take a pass.
We're watching Dune instead.
I'm going to take a pass on that one. All right. Time to pivot, folks. Time to pivot. We've got one more review to do, interview, and then Critical Drinkers trailer reaction. So
this is the movie you've been waiting for us to talk about.
This is the movie you've been waiting for, but I want to say this movie review is sponsored by the Wonder Boner.
Just wait till you see what I've got. It's the Wonder Boner.
The Wonder Boner?
Oh, you laugh now. Just watch. The Wonder Boner. My wife would like that. So, Dave, where did you get the Wonder Boner? It's funny you should ask.
Order your Wonder Boner now. Call toll-free 855-246-9948 and receive the amazing Wonder Boner for just $19.95.
I can't wait for that boner money to come in.
All right, Alan, it's time for us to talk about Drive Away Dolls. Drive Away Dolls is directed by one of the Coen brothers. It's not a Coen brothers movie, although it kind of feels like one. It's directed by Ethan Coen, and here's what I love about this movie. It's 84 minutes. I'm already in. Also, along with if you've seen the posters for Drive Away Dolls, it's this like exploitation movie poster design, which I really love. It's about a woman named Jamie and Marion. Jamie is played by Margaret Qualley, which I believe is Andy McDowell's daughter.
Yes, that's right.
And Geraldine Viswanathan plays Marion. We last saw Geraldine Viswanathan in a movie called Blockers. I thought she was a standout in that film. So Jamie and Marion are friends. They are both lesbians. They go to the lesbian bar. What I like about this film is the fact that they happen to be lesbians is just, it's not their main personality trait. They just happen to be lesbians that like to sleep around. Jamie
One of them does.
Exactly. Jamie is a stand-up comedian that is, she sleeps around with a lot of girls, ends up breaking up with her girlfriend at the beginning, and goes on a road trip with Marion, who she drags on. And Marion is super uptight. She works in an office. Everything's buttoned up. She's kind of boring. And she's a book nerd. She's reading a Henry James novel. And she's super uptight. Jamie, she's loosey-goosey, out for fun. The two of them decide to get a drive-away. What is a drive-away? Drive-away is a car where it's going on a one-way trip. So you're basically delivering a car to a particular destination. You make a little cash on the side, little vacation. This car has to get to its destination the next day. That's where things go wrong. There is something in the trunk of this car, in a briefcase, which will be revealed. And fortunately, unlike Pulp Fiction, we actually get to see what's in this briefcase about in the middle of the movie. What it is will shock you, and it's awesome. It's awesome. We'll get to that later. Of course, she's being followed by a bunch of goons. Are out to get them because they want what's in the briefcase. There's also another bag that's in there. Coleman Domingo plays the chief. He's in charge. And then there are two, Bill Camp. No, sorry, not Bill Camp. There are two other actors. CJ Wilson is one of the goons. Joey Slotnick is the other goon. And they are idiots. Joey's more of a people person. CJ Wilson as Flint. He's more of a like shoot now, ask questions later. They're both complete idiots after them as they're following them on this road movie. It's incredibly entertaining, laugh out loud moments. It's also, hey, you know what? Kind of sexy. You see as a young girl, Marion, you see that she's, as a young girl, she was checking out the neighbor who would sunbathe nude in her backyard. I don't know. It's a raunchy thriller crime comedy that is in the style of a Coen Brothers movie, but very different.
I describe it as if only one of the Coen brothers directed this movie, that's the kind of Coen Brothers movie it was.
That's exactly a perfect description. I'll say this, my expectations for this movie were low. I thought the trailer was awful. There's a line in the trailer that really turned me off that got no laughs. A lot of people are maybe going to speculate that this movie's political because they go to this meeting. They're meeting with some guy. He's like, "Who are you two girls?" And they say, "We're Democrats." The line dies in the room. Not one person laughed. It's stupid. And it's the only political thing about this movie. They should have cut that line. I thought it was really awful. But there's so many other things. There's this character named Curly that sends them off on their journey.
That's Bill Camp, by the way.
But Bill Camp, oh my God. He's so funny in this understated performance. He's just an a-hole. And he's I mean, like, there's this line he delivers in the middle of the movie where the audience just burst out. It's so good. But 84-minute film, super fun. Not super political in terms of pushing a message. What?
Sorry. You mispronounced pushing.
Oh, did I say? Oh, I mispronounced pushing. Pussing.
Keep saying it. Keep saying it.
That was all right. Freudian slip. But it was just fun. I mean, I would go see it again. Look, I hated the trailer. The trailer completely turned me off to this movie. Everything I read about this movie turned me off. The movie itself is super fun. It's just these, the thing is that, if you're bothered by the fact that the two leads are gay, I don't know what to tell you. They're people first before being gay, right? Like, that's their thing. It's the kind of raunchy comedy that Hollywood would have made about a bunch of dudes. They just happen to be lesbians. But I'm going to say this. I am not complaining about any of the lesbian scenes. I have no complaints whatsoever. That's all I'm going to say on that.
And there is nudity in this movie.
There is a healthy dose of nudity. So I really enjoyed
Half of the
Driving.
boobs were amazing.
Do we have a review on the Film Threat website?
No, it came out yesterday.
Okay, no. We'll get a review, I'm sure.
We'll get it.
I'm just saying I really enjoyed it. Unexpected, because I thought the trailers sucked. I thought the marketing sucked. And it's portraying the movie. Here's the problem I have with the marketing. It's portraying that the movie will only appeal to a certain audience. I disagree. The movie will appeal to a lot of people. So, as in particular, if you're a fan of the older Coen Brothers movies, the ones that focused on comedy, like Raising Arizona, you're going to like this. It's got a sort of Southern feel to it too. I'm talking about Raising Arizona, right?
Yeah.
Older Coen Brothers, the earlier funny Coen Brothers. So I recommend Drive Away Dolls. 7 for me, 6.5 or 7 for me. And the fact that it's like under 90 minutes, chef's kiss. Alan, what do you think?
Yeah, you definitely like this movie more than I did. Look, I felt the same about this movie as I did Drugstore June. it was fine. I got through it. The story was interesting, but I didn't laugh out loud at any point. Look, and also, yeah, it's not woke, but this movie is a very lesbian movie. It's a lesbian Thelma and Louise. It's a story that I think will appeal to lesbians, as it really gets into lesbian culture. How many times can I say that? I'm going to say it even more. But it's just, it wasn't made for me. The comparison I would make with this movie is with Bottoms. Bottoms, I was laughing from start to finish. It was hysterical. This is not that movie. It's just, Margaret Qualley it's weird because she's a Southerner playing a Texan. And it's just she has this weird character. And I will admit, in the beginning of the movie, it was annoying the way she would talk. Just her mannerisms. And it kind of grew on me at the end. I think Geraldine Viswanathan is much better. She's the best character in this movie. It has our favorite actor who's in everything, Pedro Pascal in it.
Right.
And,
no, but I love the way they deal with Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it, but
but he appears in a lot of the movie, and for people who don't like him, you'll love it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you don't like Pedro Pascal, you'll love it.
Yeah.
You'll love it.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I call this half a Coen Brothers movie because it has the elements of a Coen Brother movie. It's just got these weird characters with a dark tone to it. But it's a very light, dark tone, if that makes any sense. Fargo, for example, similar characters, but the gravity of the situation, the stakes of the movie are grave, and you feel those stakes. And this one is just kind of a throwaway comedy at this point, and that's how I would kind of describe this movie, as a throwaway Coen Brothers movie, and that's why only one of them was involved. So it's very hard for me to recommend the movie because you're not gonna get the laughs you think you will. I think yes.
Well, did you see it? Okay, wait a second.
Hold on.
Okay.
No, I gotta say you're right in the sense of the lesbian lovemaking and the lesbian romance. It was very appealing and attractive in this movie. Even the nudity was great. But it's not my movie. It's not. If I have lesbian friends, I would probably recommend this movie to them.
What about people who just like lesbians?
I don't know that you're going to get that either. It's
it breaks away from those kind of cliches. We meet different types of quote lesbian characters in the film. They're not all cliches. They're not stereotypes.
Yeah.
Look, in particular, the Marion character, she wants to find love.
Right.
He wants to be in love and have a
love in all the right ways, and not in the promiscuous, horny way that what's her name, Jamie, is in. The other thing is, you say it's not political. It's true. It's not political until the back end of the movie, like the last few moments where a villain is revealed, and the reason he's a villain, he's a Republican.
Yeah, see that and it just I groaned when I saw that.
Yeah,
that's why it's not getting like it's for me, like I say, 6.5 there's 7 out of 10. But look, I had a good time. I was entertained. The audience I saw it with laughed, and that Democrat line, which I hated from the trailer, died in the room. Not one, not a reaction. So. What's
funny is when I was walking out of the theater, this couple walks out, and the guy clearly was there because of his girlfriend, and the guy goes, "I totally wasn't expecting that."
Look, you're gonna have a good time. It's 84 minutes, and I guess if you're offended by certain things, well, then there you are.
Yeah, I would say go see Bottoms instead. That's a much better lesbian comedy, and I think it has broader appeal than this movie.
And by the way, the original title of this movie was Drive Away Dykes. That was the original title, and they took that, they got rid of that title and retitled it something. But there's a little nod to that at the end. Yeah. So stick until the end. Stick with it till the end. All right, let's
stick it
go.
in the end. That's what you're saying.
Stick it in the end. Stick it in the end. Let's go to your comments and questions here, starting with the super chat from Jared Guffey for 5. Why don't studios do double features anymore? Pair a low budget film with a big budget film, almost like an opener for a big concert. Because of money. Because of money, they will never do that.
Plus, double features, like when I was a kid, my local theater had one screen, and that's why you do double features.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to start from the bottom of the comments. From Rumble, $8.24. So Joel Cohen is out here making Macbeth, while Ethan Cohen is making a Lesbo B movie. Quite the fork in the road, and the brothers have taken in recent years since their breakup. I don't know if it's a breakup. They're just trying different things. Tafka Day, from now on, anything with a feminist bent should be described as pussying a narrative. I'll take it. It's an 8 for me. Quality of boobs gets bonus points, says Mike MC Wong. Mike MC Wong, shout out to Mike. He gave it an 8 because of the boobs. It has a lot of girl boss in the movie, though, making the men stupid and incompetent, says Corky's Chilling. I disagree. I think here's a girl boss is when the women are perfect and everyone's an idiot. These women aren't perfect. They're incompetent. They make mistakes. They F up. They get bad things happen.
Yeah, plus they're not hiding the fact that this movie is what it is. And so when you do that, you can make the men stupid and incompetent because that's exactly the movie they're wanting to make, as opposed to just doing it in because that's what all men have to be in a movie.
And there's not as if there's a scene where like the girls beat up the two heavies. That doesn't happen. They're definitely not physically better than anyone else. So they're women. They're young women. But look, it's not. Girl boss is when you feel that cringe, which would be the Marvels. Nicholas Vargo, God help me, I laughed at the Democrats line. Totally fine. Still in the audience of 8 I saw it with. It died with the rest of them. I'm easy. What can I say? You know what? Make of that what you will. It just sort of like, but I couldn't believe it was like a crowd because they actually added showings at the theater we were at because it was only playing in one theater. They added a second theater. And it just, that line died, but a lot of other movie lines got laughs in the movie. So thanks, Nicholas. Benjamin, nudity, like boobs and butt and stuff. Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Little bit more than that even. Like, I mean, the opening scene is a graphic, not where you show anything, but it's like, you know what's going on.
Yeah.
And they do not, I mean.
It fills the screen.
Yeah. All I can say is this, it's refreshing to see sex in a movie.
Yeah.
Lesbian sex that is graphic, I'll take it. I'll take it. Mima Flowers, good for smart teens. I'm not sure. Good for smart teens. I don't know. Depends on your teen. You know your kid. I would have to be like 16 or 17 at least.
Yeah, I mean, there's boobs in it, so
there's nudity and lesbian sex. You know your kid better than I do. So but I think it's R-rated. I mean, but you know,
it's R-rated. It has to be.
It's definitely R-rated. And then the Latino slant for 199. It sucked on many levels. Smiley face. I think it means sucked like there were girls sucking on things. I mean, but it's like, it reminds me of a type of movie they don't make anymore. The dumb thing is people act like these movies are new. This is a movie that owes everything to the 70s. And like 60s and 70s exploitation films. Have you ever seen Faster Pussycat Kill Kill? This is a movie that owes a lot to that movie. The Russ Meyer films with the girls with big boobs, Kitten Natividad. If you like those movies, I love those movies. I like John Waters movies where he leans into exploitation. It's a type of movie that Hollywood doesn't make anymore. And on that level, I really liked it because I miss that kind of movie.
Yeah, it's definitely a teen sex comedy like Revenge of the Nerds, like Road Trip. You know, it delves. It's all about the raunchy sex that teens like.
Exactly. So, you know what? I'm all about it. And then there's even like these graphics that kind of between certain sequences, they have these graphics come in. It pays off later. They're like from the 60s. That's kind of this weird effect. It's an ode to a genre of movie they don't make anymore. Runaway girls on the run. They're being pursued by these criminals. There's something in a briefcase. Yes, seen those elements before, and it just reminds me of old exploitation movies. Look up the movies of Russ Meyer. Here's what bothers me. We're so knee-jerk when it comes to everything is woke. Just because a woman is in it and just because it's two lesbians doesn't mean it's woke, okay? Go back and watch Russ Meyer movies from the 60s and 70s with Kit Natividad. I loved those movies. Faster Pussycat Kill Kill is one of the greatest exploitation movies ever made. Now, this movie is not as great as that. And that had girl boss characters, but it was such a parody of it. It was ridiculous. It was over the top by design. And every actor in that film, every female actor in those movies had colossal knockers. Stifax says, there's some funny stuff in it, but overall it was very mediocre. 5 out of 10. The trunk twist is dumb, and the director seemed like just wanted to watch young girls make out.
Yeah,
and
I would absolutely agree with this. To me, it was, there's a weight and stakes in the first half of the movie, and then when it's revealed what they're transporting, those stakes go away, and it just becomes this. And then
I liked it.
The two flunkies who go chasing after them, they become very much wimps by the end of it.
Well, look up Mary Plastercaster. It is based on a real person and a real thing that happened, and Kiss even wrote a song about this person. So there you go. Paul Colton says, saw it last night. What a turd. 5 minutes doesn't go by without the movie reminding you the main characters are lesbians. Did I mention the main characters are gay? By the way, the chicks are totes lesbians. Who cares?
Yeah.
I think that's what makes the movie interesting. You know what? People have a sense of film history. Go watch the films of Russ Meyer. Go watch Faster Pussycat Kill Kill this weekend. This movie's trying to capture that tone.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know how you couldn't have known it was a lesbian movie.
Right. It's in the trailer.
Yeah.
Shade draws Cinar Studio. Why would the Coen brothers lower themselves to a didn't earn it attempt? Embarrassing.
Well, one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. They put chicks in it and made it gay, says Toasty Danny. See, this is the problem with people calling out woke stuff, is that not everything with gay characters is woke. I don't think this movie was woke or pushing an agenda. It was just like, hey, do you like naked girls? They're here. Also, do you like naked girls making out with other girls? Okay, we're going to put that into. Do you like crime? Do you like other stuff? Not going to say. Andy McDowell is Margaret Qualley's Drive-Away Doll's mom, says Davina Duckworth. Yes. Aid Ellis, 24 from Rumble. As we see in the trailer, their main personality trait is Democrat. That line is stupid, and it's throwaway. It's dumb. And I don't think she put that. I don't think they should have put that in the movie or the trailer. What can you say? Aid Ellis, 24 goes on to say, all raunchy sex comedies seem to be female focused, which I always find odd, considering it was very different when I was growing up. This is the end result of what Sex in the
City started
years ago.
Yeah.
And also
let me respond to that one real quick.
Please. Yeah.
I think it's true. A lot of the raunchy sex comedies are female centered, female driven. Because I think back in the 80s and the 90s, it was men sexualizing women. Today, it's okay because it's women sexualizing women.
Look, there's a scene where the character Marion, as a young girl, she drills a hole into the fence to look at this naked lady next door, the naked woman who's sunbathing with like cowboy boots. Freaking hot. I don't.
That's right out of Porky's. That's right out of Porky's.
It's right out of. I don't see how any straight man, Alan included, could dislike at least the nudity in this film.
No, I did not dislike the nudity in this film.
All I could say is think Russ Meyer. And Castigan, who's a member for 199, says Russ Meyer, Ushi Digard. There you go. And oh my God, from Rumble. Red Terror 1978 says, film threat, show up for Ordinary Angels and stay for Drive Away Dykes.
There's your double feature right there.
See, that's the thing is like, look, film threat can be like we're talking about this heartfelt Ordinary Angels about a young 5-year-old girl who needs a liver transplant, who's going to be dead in a year, and it's faith-based. And then we're talking about lesbians. Look, this is why, it's always up to you to take away what you hear from Alan and I, what you hear from the chat. Go see the movie and make your own decision. I was just in the mood for, I think a lot of it was one, the running time was so short. I love it. Every movie's 2.5 hours these days.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Right. Yeah. It was nice. I saw it in San Diego last night, like late, and it was nice to be out at a reasonable time and get home relatively late. So yes, thank you. Under 90 minutes.
Under 90 minutes. Love that. Nudity, sense of humor. Pedro Pascal's character, who's kind of like embarrassed by I don't want to say it's so good. I don't want to ruin it. I know it happens like early in the movie, but it's something that is worth keeping quiet about for those who have not seen it. It's, what can you say? I had a good time. Now, what is my rating? 6.5 out of 7, right around there. I had a good time. Expectations low. If your expectations are low, you'll
go see Bottoms instead. That's what.
Go see a double feature. You can see both. All right. It's time. We have a special guest today that's going to be joining us. It's time to talk about, I got to set this up, Alan.
Okay.
I got to set this up. We're going to pivot. It's time for us to pivot. It's time for us to pivot as we get ready for not yet.
Okay.
No.
Mr. Hey, I need you to help me out.
Here we go. All right. Let's go, folks. It's time for our film threat interview. Let's talk to the filmmakers behind Red Right Hand, the Nelms brothers, Ian and Eshom Nelms. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Ian, Eshom, good to meet you. I'm Chris, and this is Alan. This is Alan over here.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, Chris. Hello, Alan.
Chris, good to see you again, brother.
Good to see you. All right. Yeah. Tell us about Red Right Hand. We just talked about it earlier in the show, but tell us what led to both of you making this film.
Red Right Hand's like a Southern fried thriller with a little with the script for us had like a beautiful kind of 70s throwback with some of that neo-noir elements that Ian and I really get our juices flowing for. And when we read Jonathan Easley's script, there's a twofold thing happened here, right? So like number one, we had sat down with Orlando after our previous film, Small Town Crime, and we really just hit it off with the guy. We had like a great breakfast and got to know him. We're geeking out about movies, and he was telling us what he wanted to do with some of the stuff he was aspiring to his performance wise. And so we read Red Right Hand. We're like, man, wouldn't this be tremendously fun to get Orlando in here doing this just Southern badass?
And how do you resist when you work with him? How do you resist asking questions about Lord of the Rings? I'm sorry, like
we didn't resist.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you ask him about Lord of the Rings and playing an elf and what that was like? And like I don't know, I'm just curious, just because like I would not be able to resist that, or Pirates of the Caribbean.
I mean, he loves it. I mean, he was talking a lot about just when he first got those roles and meeting Peter Jackson and sort of going through the process of just getting the role, and how kind of mind-blowing it was, and just how obviously a very life-changing experience for him that was. He was literally in college throwing pots. He was at an artist college, making pots, and he was like, I had this weird knack for it was something he was interested in, but he didn't know if he could do it. And he went into this like college for the arts, and he started throwing pots. And he was like, by the end of the year, I'd thrown this pot that they threw up as like an example to all people throwing pots in the school that were like, this is how you do it. He was just like, the fucking talent came out of nowhere. He was just like, all of a sudden I'm throwing pots. He's like, and someone suggested me, hey, you should try acting. I think you'd really dig it.
Did he ever say during the production, hey, if Peter Jackson were doing this, he would do this?
He shamed us constantly with that. No. I mean, no, he was such a generous guy. Yeah, no, we were geeking out with him for sure, man. He's been in such legendary work, right? Like working with Ridley, Peter Jackson. It's just like insane.
So tell us, doing an independent film. We have got over 500 people watching live on YouTube right now in the chat. We'll get to questions from the chat in a moment. Putting together the elements of an indie film these days.
Yeah.
How difficult and what are the challenges in that? I think obviously you have an amazing cast. So the cast helps a lot. But what are some of the other challenges?
I mean, with this one came to us funded with sort of like, okay, you're going to need to find the talent, obviously, to hit the funding button to trigger it all. But it came to us through Thunder Road, who, is pretty infamous for John Wick and Sicario. And we were trying to find something to do together with them. They passed us this. We really dug it. So this one was kind of set up, but I can speak a little bit more to we can speak a little bit more to Small Town Crime and Fat Man. Mainly because we were there for the ground up, it's a difficult landscape, but I feel we felt like, every film we've done has been equally as difficult in some way, whether it was a $200,000 film or, Small Town was 1.9. Like when, and they're all difficult. I mean, you're trying to hit, you have a budget, you're trying to hit that budget. And of course, like the talent is heavily involved in that as far as like trying to, it's a seesaw battle of trying to hit your budget,
I mean, I think what's also interesting is like there's these tax rebates that they get and incentives that they get now. And that number is shifted. I mean, it's in a bizarre way, right? Because before, when we were trying to do that sort of tax rebate thing, the number was like 5 to 8. Now the number's like 8 to 15. So you got they're like making movies in the specific brackets because it maximizes these tax rebates.
And I think on the other side of that, like we shot Small Town Crime in Utah, and we shot Fat Man in Canada because of the dollar exchange, and on top of that you get a tax incentive. So that can be really favorable if you can shoot up there. It was for Fat Man, but that's the thing. You're thrown all over the place in independent film as to where you want to shoot. Like if you wrote your film for New York City and you can get a better tax incentive in Alabama to actually shoot your movie, you're like, okay, how do I turn this New York City movie into an Alabama movie? How am I going to pull this off? Like things start changing and warping and distorting. And I don't know. Sometimes it can be a great creative, opening for you, I think, but sometimes it can be a little restrictive.
We have, like I said, over 500 people watching us live on YouTube. We have a lot of questions from our chat. Let's pivot to those questions. So get ready. Here we go. From Rumble, we're also live on Rumble. ADellis24 asks, so who on the creative team is the Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds fan?
Well, I think we all are, but the title came from the writer, Jonathan Easley. He's a big Milton fan, is where that Red Right Hand title came from. And from my understanding, that's where Nick Cave, got the inspiration for the song as well. So it came from
he went back to the OG Milton source on that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting question here from Akanika says, could you talk about how you support each other? What hats do each of you wear? One of you right now is technically wearing a hat. Eshom's wearing a hat here, but like,
so I think
in terms of division,
hat.
right. But in terms of like division, like there are a lot of directing teams these days. That's become much more common. So how do you divide those responsibilities?
Well, look, over the years, Ian and I have become more and more dysfunctionally codependent in the filmmaking process. I think it's just the nature of it. We lean into each other's strengths, and we also like try to fill in and complement each other in the things that we aren't so great in. But I think honestly for us, it's such a blessing, man. You have another, if you Ian and I are fortunate that we collaborate really well. We just love working together. So like for us to go and hive mind and geek out and get excited about stuff, that's a critical part of the process. Also, if one of us is feeling a little down, needs a kick in the fanny, like they're there for that. It's such a great opportunity to have a collaborator to the truest sense, and it really can help in every respect.
Yeah, we love there's in the writing and directing process, like it's so awesome to have somebody there that you trust with your taste, and and obviously he's my brother. So when he doesn't like something, or he thinks that, I fell short on something, he's not going to be, it's real easy for him to tell me. There's no like beating around the bush. He's like, this stinks. We can do better than this. Or, like, oh, I really like that. That's awesome.
But we do everything together. We storyboard together, even though I may do the drawing. We write together, even though Ian's got the literary degree. So, but it is like we do every single part together. And that includes working with actors, working with the camera teams. Like really, you're just attached at the hip.
I have to ask you about Andie MacDowell. It looked like she really relished this role. What was her kind of approach to it, and how excited was she about doing it?
She was full send. It was awesome.
This is an exciting year for us. I don't think you've ever seen America's Sweetheart quite like this. She's got some talents, that big cat. I think what was really, and I'll own this, because her name came up early on for Big Cat when we were talking about casting. And honestly, I was like, man, we've never seen her do this before. I just think the chances of her doing it so outside the box for her. I think we're going to be spinning our wheels with a submission here and just waiting for a no. And lo and behold, out of left field, because this is what happens, right? You put a script's floating around town. Her agent calls us and he's like, hey, Andie's interested. Do you guys want to meet with her? And we're like, abso-freaking-lutely. Like, when
are you kidding?
And so he's like, okay, well, she wants to put a little Zoom together with you boys. And we're like, great, let's do it. And we hop on there. She's got a little of the Big Cat air to her, right? Like, it's all framed by design. It's so brilliant, right? She's wearing like leather pants. She's got a little edge to her. And you could just feel the cat on her. And then you want to like that one part with her?
Yeah, she was like, I know you've never seen me do this, but I have this in me. Just ask my kids, which we thought was hilarious.
Wow. Let's see more comments here. Susanna Ala Richard says Red Right Hand is already on the watch list.
Thank you.
From Rumble, 8Ls24 do you guys have any special memories of working with the late legend Robert Forster on Small Town Crime?
I have a lot of amazing stories from that guy. He was such a good guy. Let me just try to think of something that's PC enough to tell on here.
Well, yeah, no, first of all, I met him at a film festival. He was being honored at the Sonoma Valley Film Festival where I was the festival director. He gave me, and I still have it to this day, a letter opener.
Yes, the letter opener.
Did you get the letter opener?
We did.
Oh my God! So
we heard we're in a very special club though, and we were very excited. Apparently, yeah, he gives those to on movie sets. He gives those to when he's making films, he gives those as gifts, and then he gives it to friends and obviously
I got
collaborators like yourself, Chris.
Yeah, no, it was weird. I treasure it. I have it to this day. I'm gonna dig it up. Before the end of the show.
I thought maybe I had it sitting around me, but I think it's at my other desk. Yeah.
But I felt so honored, and that's kind of I don't know. He was a total gentleman and so cool at the festival. I mean, everyone was just all over him, and just to receive that as a gift was amazing. But I suspected I may have not been the only one.
I think we're in a club, man.
We are in a club.
He was fantastic. I guess one of the great stories about him is just how, like you said, what a gentleman he was. Even approaching us about something like, it was really cold when we were shooting that last shootout in Small Town Crime, and we had him in this like long sleeve, like I don't know, it was just a long sleeve shirt, and then he was like, boys, right? But he was like, boys, can we work on the gear for my character a little bit? Can we give him like a jacket, you know, that I would like a tactical jacket that, you know, something like he wanted something thicker that he could actually wear that he wasn't going to be cold. He's like, because I'm just going to be honest, like if I get cold, I'm going to have to go in. Like he's
Right.
Yeah, and honestly, he was like looking out for us, right? He was like, I want to be able to shoot all night with you guys. And we did. He did. He was amazing. I just remember like going and just like little things, man, like just going and having oatmeal with him in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, like after we were done shooting and he would just like, hey boys, you want to grab breakfast? And we just go have oatmeal and talk about movies. And he was just such a gentleman, such a great collaborator. I remember he was like, he'd be like telling us about that story with the director. He's all, it's what happens in the frame. Nothing else matters. You know, like he was just so amazing.
More questions here. Question for Eshom. When you illustrated comic books, did you work for the big two or did you work with an independent company or made your own from Razorburn?
So yeah. No, so they were very scrappy independent comic books. I never made it as a commercial artist. I did work for many years as a storyboard artist in Los Angeles. So I did tons of commercials, Super Bowl commercials, things like that.
I mean, one of the funnest things that he would do, that he does and would do, especially early on, is he would make scenes in our scripts into comic books. And so we would go into some of these meetings, sometimes full color, sometimes with that sort of gray, whatever Esh kind of felt like, or kind of a sepia look to them.
Just the marker tones,
and then there was one movie that we did a pitch for where we made animatics out of his comic book. So I figured, what was the program I learned, Esh?
Motion. You learned motion.
Motion. Esh was like, I'm going to be drawing these damn things. You better learn how to do this motion program because I can't be doing both. It's going to take us forever. It's going to take us forever. So I learned motion. And it was very simple. Like, he would draw the character and then he would draw like an arm that would move and we could move it around as it was like reaching for something. It was cool. It was super simple, but cool. But we were able to cut these animatics together out of there that were a minute, 2 minutes long. And those were super effective when we're going into meetings.
Wow. From Rumble, $8.24. What is the intimidation level of working with Mel Gibson? And is there any temptation to ask him for directorial advice?
Again, we constantly picked his brain the entire time we were working with him. He would regale us with stories from Braveheart and tell us all these tricks he was using. I remember at one point he was like, yeah, in Braveheart, like we double printed a frame. And we're like, double printing? He's like, yeah, like we just wanted it to hold for a little bit longer for some maximum impact. So we added a frame. So like, you see an image for a little bit longer and we're like, amazing. And we were like double printing frames in Fat Man, like just using
It was that incredibly effective moment where you remember where he rides through that door in the middle of that guy's dream, and then he pops through the door on the horse and hits him in the face with a mace. Do you remember that in Braveheart?
Yeah. And so that's where the double printing is.
He was talking about how they cut that scene together and it was really effective, but he was like, I wonder what I think the editor was suggested to him, why don't we try a double frame here just to see what happens? And then he's like, it's crazy, but one extra frame just on that impact of that mace hitting the guy's face, he's like, made it just unbelievably like crack. He's like, when you put the sound effect over it, he was like, it was just unbelievably like gruesome. He's like, so I was like, yep, we're keeping that in.
and I think as far as like the intimidation factor with Mel, I think before we met Mel, that was like at a 14 out of 10. We were like, oh my God, like, how is this good? Like, they were like, hey, remember we went out for Batman, and they're like, okay, you've got 45 minutes to pitch Mel in a coffee shop. Don't waste his time. And then we were in there, like, Ian and I are like, okay, we're like brushing up, we're stretching before we go in there, and we get in there and there's Mel in his shorts and a protein shake. And we ended up talking to him for like 4 hours and like just about Fat Man, about life, about the movies, just about everything that he's doing. And honestly, we came out of there, we were like hugging him, and he's like, I can't wait to make this movie with you boys. And we were just like, this is the most incredible experience of our lives, right? And then cut to so he's so like he's such a pro. He's been on both sides of the camera. He understands what directors need, right, from their actors. He understands, he understands what he wants to do. I know that another instance was there was a scene we were shooting with him in so many things. I mean, gosh, we could talk endlessly about this. Yeah, I just like, man, I can talk about that. But we were shooting a scene with he and Marianne in Fat Man, and he was like, hey, I don't quite understand like when I walk out the door, like what this line emphasis is. And we went over it a couple times, and he was like,
He was like, "What's the button on the scene? What's the button on the scene? How do we get out? What's the emphasis on the button on the scene?"
So we're like, and he goes, "Let me look through the eyepiece," and we framed up the shot, right? And we're like, "Oh, it comes out here. You say it here," and you like walk out the door, and he goes, "Let me see the shot." And he goes up there and he looks at the monitor, and he's like, and he goes, "Okay, record me doing it real quick." So we record like a little dry run, and he goes back and he watches it, and he goes, "The shot makes the scene. I got it. Let's go." And like he's like, "The shot does it." And I was like, "Yeah."
Oh
like,
my
so
It was
God.
because he ended in a close up. Just in the movie, he's talking to his wife. He turns around and he walks and he's super close up in the frame. She's in the background behind him. He says the last line, and then he walks out. And he's like, "Oh, the way that it's staged, the way you blocked it out." He's all, "That last button where I'm close up, that does it. That's it. That's the button." We're all, yeah.
I have to know that. I was gonna say I have to know the discussion when you say, "Hey, you're playing Santa."
Right.
Look, I mean, obviously he read the script, so he knew what we wanted him to play. I think the biggest thing was the tone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was really like, oh man, is he going to get the tone? And I think, and you got this one.
Yeah, there was this amazing moment where we're like, he's like, "All right, let's talk about the script." And we're like, "All right, great." He's like, "There's this one scene that I think really personifies the film." We're like, "Which one? Which one?" He's like, "It's that moment when I'm standing over on the balcony and I'm looking down at the elves and I have to tell them that we have to do a military contract to survive the rest of the year." And we're like, yeah. He's like, "I love the scene." He's like, "I just think when I'm delivering this monologue to these elves," he's like, "I should be almost in tears, if not in tears. Like, it's that heartbreaking of a moment for me to tell these guys, like, hey, we got to work for the military for a few months." And we're like, "Yeah, exactly. He's like, I should be just that heartbroken." We're like, "Exactly." And he goes, "And I think that's what's going to make it so funny." And we're like, yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah, he just understood that like the stone cold sober approach to that character is what sells the movie. And I remember he was like, "Chris is the most grounded character in the whole movie. Like, she's all Santa Claus is the most grounded character in the whole movie." We're like, "Yes." It's like, I got you. Let's go.
What did you guys think when that movie Violent Night came out? Kind
I
of
mean, look-
similar. It's different.
It's different.
Similar concept.
I think imitation is the best form of flattery.
Exactly.
Right?
Imitation is the best form of flattery. We took it like that because we were just like, I mean, look, would it have been great to make the movie for like 2 times the money at a studio? Yeah. But I mean, it came out like 2 years later. There's a lot of people saying that it was that we were a big influence on it. And that's fucking awesome.
If we created some like sub genre of Santa Claus movies, like, let's go.
Fucking amazing.
Just a few more questions here. The Nerd Far Away asks, "Hail, Eshom, and Ian, what unique names? Do you have to keep family stuff separate from your work? And is that hard to do? Or do you just embrace it and go with working as family?"
Yeah, working as family. Unfortunately, like I think we've got a pretty good, knock on wood. The family stuff's been great. I really enjoy it. Ian's wife is obviously like also really involved in a lot of our work in a producerial capacity and an acting capacity. So yeah, it's my partner. She helps us a lot on everything as well. She's a publicist. So for us, man, it's all intermingled, and that's really what makes it fun, is that it's such a collaborative endeavor with our family and loved ones. And we're all in it together, and we're all going to bend over backwards to make the best things we can.
Yeah, when we can, we also bring in Mother Nelms she's an incredible cook, and she's actually been like the lone star cook on a couple of our films where she's been feeding like 30 people 3 meals a day. And she's just an absolute tenacious animal, and she can handle something like that. First of all, is really impressive, but she really loves it. She loves, obviously working with us and working around everybody and being around it, and it's fun. So yeah, we love the family part of it.
And
It'll
last
all
question.
fall apart, and you'll make a great movie about it. So
Exactly.
And last question from Solomon Thornton asks, "Greetings, Sir Ian and Sir Eshom. Looking forward to seeing your film. Any advice for beginning filmmakers?"
Yes, I would do. Our main thing is like keep making things. Like our first feature film was $1,500, and it got into a few film festivals, and that really started us off. Then the second film was $5,000. Full feature films that got into and won all those film festivals that we got into before. So those are definitely attainable benchmarks, you know. And from that $5,000 film, we got all of our representation and sort of got started in the business. That really is what kicked us off, you know. And then our third film was a $200,000 film. So you can sort of see a ladder of progression. And in the third film, we finally got some names and faces you would recognize, people that we still work with today, like Jeremy Ratchford, James Lafferty. Yeah, it was a game of inches at first, you know, and then all of a sudden those inches start adding up to feet, and you're making bigger films.
Yeah.
And one final thing, I just want to see if you guys recognize this.
Yes,
there it
Is the Robert Forster
dude,
letter opener that I have had for more than 20 years. He gave it
legendary.
to me when I was at the Sonoma Valley Film Festival. I think it was 2002. I prize this. I love it. I'm gonna do a little Dune thing right now. But yeah, no, I love this letter opener. It's very heavy, actually. And so you have one.
And it
you
gets
each
that
have one
letter
as well.
open.
I'll tell you right now, Chris, when we were making the movie Small Town Crime, Clifton Collins Jr. came up to us because he'd done a movie with Robert before, and we were talking about, because he was like, "Oh, I get to do this scene with Robert? Fuck yes. I fucking love Robert. I did this other movie with him. I fucking love this man." And then that was before Robert got to set. Robert gets to set. We're fucking doing all this. We're doing all these scenes. And then Cliff is like talking to us at lunch or something one day. And he was like, "You know, it's just fucking amazing, guys. And look, you're going to get to be in the club. You're going to get the letter opener." And we're all, what? He's all, he gives all the people in every project he does gets a letter opener. And I'm telling you right now, it's like a fucking badge of honor. We're like, amazing. And then we got it at the end of the set. He gave it to us at the end of when he left. He's like, I give these out to my people, and you guys are my people. And he gives us this thing, and we're just like, open it up. It's like, oh, it's a fucking letter opener. Amazing.
Yeah, it's the same.
Welcome.
It's the same exact style, and I don't know how many of those things he has in a warehouse.
He must have
somewhere.
bought them in bulk. But
Yeah.
I feel honored because we have them, and I'm gonna guess that Quentin Tarantino has one also.
Oh, I guarantee it. Absolutely.
Oh my God. Well, look, congratulations on the film. Alan reviewed it earlier, recommended it. I know that our audience likes to seek out indie movies. Congratulations again. You both have to please come back on your next movie. I assume you're working on something new.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Got something cooking right now.
All right, you can't talk about it. Typical.
No, we can give a little bit on it. Ian, you want to?
Yeah, it's called Minutemen. It's a script Eshom and I wrote. It's very much in the vein of Small Town Crime. But yeah, I don't want to get too far into it because I'd rather you all just watch it in a year, hopefully in a year, and we're back chatting about it.
Awesome. Well, you are always welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us on Film Threat. Congrats on the movie. Everybody check it out. It's in theaters, right? It's in theaters in limited.
We're in 50 theaters nationwide. Check your bookings. But it's also out on TVOD, basically, at all your usual suspects to rent or purchase.
I will say, watching it with a crowd last night.
Oh man, really so much fun
for the reactions. Yeah, the reactions were fun.
All right, congratulations. Have a great weekend. Take care. See ya.
Thank
Later.
you,
guys.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that was awesome.
That was
Those guys
awesome.
are great. Those guys are great. I'm glad this whole thing with the letter opener. I have had this forever. It's heavy. I love it. I love it.
I would have no idea what that feels like, but it's
I'll show it to you.
Everyone has a letter opener. Thanks.
Well, next time you come to my place, we'll go through it.
Okay,
all right, a couple other pieces of business that we have to take care of. Pieces of business. The Oscars watch party is Sunday, March 10th at an earlier time. The Oscars, they moved it an hour early. So it's gonna start at 4 p.m. Pacific time. That means Alan and I will be 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Join us for the Film Threat watch party. All I can say is this: it's gotten to the point now of harassment of people that want to come to the watch party.
Chris Gore, can I come to the watch party? I promise not to fall down.
Well, I mean, everyone's invited. Everyone's invited to the watch party. So that's not a problem.
So I understand Sleepy Joe Biden will be attending the watch party. Well, listen up. If that's true and you want your event to be a huge success, you better save me a seat. Let's make the Oscars great again.
First of all, who doesn't want to make the Oscars great again?
Okay, Mr. Gore, it has come to my attention that the two old gentlemen running for president will be in attendance at the watch party. If that is true, please save us seats for Michelle and myself. We will be there.
Wow.
I just want to repeat, everyone is welcome. Former presidents, whichever side of the aisle that you're on, or maybe you're more in the middle, doesn't matter. You know,
like we may
I
have
could,
to,
you know
like-
what I consider myself? I'm part of the radical middle.
Yeah.
I'm the alt middle. That's where I'm at this point, the alt middle. But it's going to be a lot of fun.
Invite our governor to the watch party soon.
We'll get some more videos. I shout out to Leo Cody for making those. I just wanted to get a little short promo that Glenn could clip and put out there. You hear that, Glenn? But join us for the Oscars watch party. It's going to be epic. Some of your favorites who've attended all of our watch parties in the past are going to be there. It'll be a full house and it's going to be a lot of fun. So join us for that on Sunday, March 10th. Now, I have a request. I have a question that I need. I actually need some people's advice here. Okay. This is a serious request. I need help coming up with a new column for Film Threat. We have the D files. Everybody knows about the D files, right? Everybody's well informed. When is the new D files coming, Alan?
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, the new D files is coming out. But just because I am being on a daily basis inundated with all sorts of material related to DEI in Hollywood, we want to start a new column on filmthreat.com about DEI and its influence in Hollywood. I need a name. Can anyone in the chat come up with a name? I'll give you a no prize. You know what a no prize is? That's what Stan Lee used to give away in the old comics when you would read. He'd give you a no prize, which is you actually get no prize. Actually, you know what? I'll send you something. But I've got what do you think of the DEI Diaries? Hollywood is DEI 'ing. Hollywood is DEI ing. Is that too clever? Time to DEI. Does anyone have any suggestions? Post them in the chat.
Yeah, please, something better than that.
Something better than the three that I just came up with. Here we go. DEI on arrival. No on those suggestions. What do you mean more MAGA? Constitution picture says DEI on arrival. DEI of Sauron says Patrick Lemire. DEI on arrival. People like that. Live and let DEI. Hollywood is on a DEI. It says not the Batman. Alan Horkin, thank you for that. DEI is dying, says JTPRX. DEI-ing, Sons and Shadows. DEI these nuts, says Benjamin. What did I just walk into, says Pickle Droner. To live in DEI in LA.
DEI can't believe it.
DEI, okay, this is great. We're going to go DEI, just DEI, says Hi Guy reviewing. Alan Horkin, DEI hard with a vengeance. Jeffrey Quest, let DEI live and let DEI. This is great. This is great. Thank you. But we are going to start a new column. The D files is something that we came to is like, oh, we get it. It's also sort of a little bit of a wordplay with
to Disney. Yeah.
Specific to Disney. D files, right? Defile. So High Times at DEI says, these things I've been burgled. Hollywood is DEI'd, says Christopher Moonlight Productions. Too Fast, Too DEI, and Sons and Shadows. DEI on arrival is the one that a lot of people destroy everything intelligent, says Brock Samsonite. Thank you. We're going to go through your suggestions, post them here. We're going to post this clip. We're going to get more suggestions. So please post your
Oh, I like this one.
suggestions.
Uh,
Double inequity, says Patrick Lemire. That's good. Hey, Glenuccio, I just DEI'd in your arms tonight. Yeah, we need it.
That's not
We
quite
need
a
also-
column title.
Yeah, this is to live in DEI in LA is the winner. Film Threat says more MAGA. I don't know. We just want it to be clever, and you get the idea, and it's a way for us to just because this is outside of Disney. This isn't Disney. This is someone who works at Universal just sent me a screenshot. All of these things are ridiculous. So we're getting screenshots, personal stories. It's really divided Hollywood in a terrible way. All this identity politics. So I hope that DEI dies and goes away. You know what we need? We need more diversity in people who work in DEI. Because whenever you see someone who works in DEI, they always fit a certain profile. Wouldn't it be like, when they say inclusivity, it does not mean those words. It means something else. And I think that we all notice that. So there you go. All right. Let's pivot. We're going to pivot really quickly we're going to pivot to something else real quick. We're going to pivot to something else. We're going to watch the trailer. We're going to watch the trailer for Critical Drinkers short film.
But you looked up at me with his big weepy eyes. Don't go home tonight, Harry. Hold me a little longer, Harry. What was I supposed to do?
What are you saying? You took pity on me?
No, I was...
Fuck you.
New fridge on.
All right.
I need to get a wax.
What are you talking about?
That scene, I have a little mustache in that scene, and I'm a little embarrassed by it.
Oh my God, I'm getting through all of these. Okay. All right, I got it queued up. It's 2 minutes and 8 seconds. This is the trailer for Rogue Elements. So now I'm going to stop. Thank you for your patience, everyone.
Are you making a banner? Do you need to make a banner?
I'm making it right now.
Okay.
And I made it. There we go. All right. Glenn's not going to include that in there. Are you, Glenn? Here we go. All right. It's time. We've seen critics cross over into filmmaking. Chris Stuckman is a filmmaker and a critic. John Campea made a documentary about movie trailers. I have made films in the past. I made an infamous short film called Red. I co-wrote and produced a movie called My Big Fat Independent Movie. You've all seen Attack of the Doc. I've got other movies coming out. Critics crossing over into making films isn't new. The entire French New Wave was made up of critics who crossed over into filmmaking. Francois Truffaut, Jean-Luc Godard. So the critic crossing over into filmmaking isn't new. Rod Lurie was famously a critic for Los Angeles Magazine and then crossed over into filmmaking. This isn't a new thing. It's not always successful, but we are about to watch the trailer for Critical Drinker, probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, film reviewers and commentators on YouTube. I know The Drinker. I have appeared on the Drinker Show, Open Bar, but now it's time. It's time to take a critical look at the work of Critical Drinker. We're going to watch his trailer for Rogue Elements. It's 2 minutes. Here we go. Sorry. Let's take a look, folks, at the trailer for Rogue Elements. I'm going to mute myself here.
Yeah, and then click the expand button there.
Bravo, I found a target. I count 5 guys inside that room.
Hold on, Alpha. Let me check the schematics and see if there's another entry point.
No time for that. Going loud.
Last year, one of your CIA Shepherd teams infiltrated a maximum security prison. Their target was an operative identified by the code name Malas. All I want to know is the name of the man who led this mission. I guess we're in for a long night. Because I don't know shit.
Einstein's team was tasked with retrieving this man, Ivan Fedorov, an agency asset investigating the new radical separatist group in Estonia. We have just under 2 hours to figure out how to get inside that warehouse, find Fedorov, and get the fuck out in one piece.
Look around you, Frost. Does this look like headquarters to you? This looks and sounds like a bullshit rush job.
You were foolish enough to send spies into my country. And as you can see, they have failed miserably. Ryan Drake.
Better hope this isn't a trap. Because if those assholes don't kill you, I will. The only people dying today are those fuckers. All of them.
That looks pretty damn good. I mean, feature quality. That is feature quality filmmaking.
I mean, first time filmmaker, right? He's not.
No. So Drinker wrote it. He didn't direct it. But he did a Kickstarter. It did a crowdfund to get it made. I don't know why you don't just expand that into a feature. I mean, it looks like the third act of a movie or building up to a third act.
A short film? It's not.
It's a short film.
Okay.
Yeah, the short film's not out yet. That's the teaser for it. But he raised enough money to make the short. You need to expand that into a feature. That is a movie that you picked up.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like a feature to me. That doesn't look like
that looks like a feature film in terms of the quality. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we see indie-wise, it's at least at the level or better than a lot of the stuff that we see. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm impressed.
I mean, it looks action-wise, it looks ambitious for an indie film, which is great. Everyone has those damn accents, though. But other than that, I'm excited to see it. I kind of am disappointed that it's not a feature.
Yeah, well, but the thing is this, a lot of short films get expanded into features, so it could become that. They could certainly use it
concept
for fundraising. So congratulations to the Drinker. I have only one complaint. There's not enough drinking. I saw a lot of guns, a lot of tough guy. There's a very attractive lady.
Yeah, I expect nudity. I want nudity in this as well. There has to be
nudity
a hot,
and
sweaty
alcohol.
sex scene in it. Yeah.
Where is the alcohol, Drinker? You're not living up to your reputation. But hopefully in the feature length version, there'll actually be some drinking. Let's go to your comments and questions here. Got my ticket for Dune Part 2 Sunday for IMAX. Though I enjoyed Part 1 in 3D, since D2 isn't in 3D, are 3D films officially dead? Also binging Narnia film, says Bushin Ryu Cat for 5. I think 3D is dead. Marvel still tried to keep that, fan the flames of that. I think Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom was released in 3D, but it was only certain screenings. I just don't think audiences like it. I think audiences have made their choice. They love IMAX. 3D, not so much. And if I have to choose, I'm always going IMAX. But 3D is just, it's headache inducing. Alan, what are your thoughts?
The problem with 3D is it's cool when the movie starts. And by the end of the first act, you forget it's in 3D. You don't care. And then you wonder why you're wearing these glasses on your face.
Right. Yeah. But anyways, look, you're seeing it in IMAX. Bush and Ryu Cat. Join us Monday for a very special edition of Versus. It is going to be packed.
Yes.
Celebrity studded.
Yeah. And I will be in Burbank on Sunday night at the joining all you guys for Dune Part 2.
Oh yeah, Alan's going to be there at Yard House, 5 p.m. AMC Burbank 16. If you're going to that screening, it is not a 100% sold out. There are seats, but they're all like the first and second row only. So, and on the sides, actually the first row in the very front, if you're in the center, isn't that terrible?
Yeah. I was in the second row at the IMAX screening of Dune 1, and Denny shot it for IMAX, and it was very clear when you said that.
Right.
I mean, these shots are fairly amazing, and it can only be done in IMAX.
Pilgrim Media for 2, who's a member, says, FYI, I had to leave AA to get long-term sobriety. But I hear you get like coffee and cookies at AA. Don't they have
And
coffee
a coin.
and cookies?
I hear you get a coin.
And you get a coin. Yeah, look, whatever works. Ms. P. Coffee, replying to Ms. P. Coffee from Constitution Pictures, says, I will become a member, but do you know when the James Agnew event might be? I texted with James this week. We are trying to nail down a window of time. We want at least 3 hours. It's going to be a members only event. If you're the members, or if you're a member, or you RSVP'd with James, okay? It will be a private live stream on an unlisted link. You must be a member, or you need to register to be a member of Film Threats, $1.99.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're going to send in a super chat, you might as well just become a member. We will give you plenty of advance notice. It's going to be probably in mid-March because we want to get as many people as possible in. You will know Constitution Pictures, so you will know in advance.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll announce it both publicly and for the members only. So we'll have a public, like, here's where it is, but it's members only. The members only will have the link, so you'll be able to ask questions. I will be a moderator for that discussion. I'm literally there to just run it so Jim can just talk, and then we'll deal with chat.
Yeah, I'll be in the chat.
Jared Guffey for 5 says, do or DEI, DIE. Right. Well, there you go. There you go. Love that. We'll come up with, I have to, Alan, I think should make the final decision on that.
Yeah.
As the
we have to
editor,
live with it.
well, as the editor of filmthreat.com, I just always, you guys don't see behind the scenes how Alan and I work, but we very much are divided in the sense of like, this is Alan's territory and this is my territory. And that's it. Actually,
this actually crosses our territories because
it crosses territories, but
these
like
stories will probably become videos and
right. So I can't make a decision without Alan being on board. But we're going to look at all these suggestions that you put in the chat, and there was some DEI on Arrival is pretty good, but it's going to be an ongoing column of all the stories and things people have sent us. Now, all the stories are vetted, so we know who the people are, but for the most part, we're going to have to keep it. We're going to have to keep it anonymous.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but it is what it is. Anyways, that wraps it up for us today. Versus on Sunday, versus on Monday. Sunday, Alan and I are both seeing Dune Part 2 at AMC Burbank 16. Pop by and say hi. And Akanika, member for 19 months, says best $2 I spend every month. Well, I appreciate it, Akanika. We always look for your chats. You're always adding to the conversation, and we appreciate it. I also want to say thank you to our mods, Lord Thoth, Latino Slant, everyone who sends in. Here's what I also want to say is I really appreciate that. What used to happen, we'd be doing a live stream, we'd pivot to an interview, and we'd lose half the people. Now people stick around. It's really great. Like I try to make the interviews like, you're a part of it. The chat is a part of it. The interviews are a part of it. There's usually something interesting. There's a reason someone was invited on. We want to invite filmmakers that are maybe just above the level that you could be at, but even filmmakers that are just starting. Sometimes we get some big gets like a David Duchovny, or, a Jean-Pierre Jeunet who made Amelie. Amelie's still in theaters, by the way. And John Richards, Problematic White Guy, says the seduction is working. I mean, look, thank you. We try to make it so that, because here's the reality. And this is what I want to say about my friend James Agnew, right? That Constitution Pictures talked about. Jim used to write for Film Threat. Jim Agnew used to write for Film Threat 20 years ago. We were at the Sundance Film Festival. This is like 2002. And he's just like, I've been talking to these filmmakers. I think I could do this. A lot of these people, they're just regular people. They're no smarter than you or I or Alan or anyone, right? In the they're no smarter. They just are they're disciplined. That's the only thing. They're disciplined. They don't give up. I used to, when my book, the Ultimate Film Festival Survivor Guide, one of the things I would always sign in my book to every filmmaker who bought a copy of my book, I would write, never quit. That's it. If the only difference between you and someone who's made a movie and you who hasn't made a feature-length film yet is the person who made a movie didn't quit. That's it. And James decided, I'm going to be a filmmaker, worked his way up. He's made it. Look up Jim Agnew on IMDb. He's worked with Nicolas Cage, John Carpenter, Dario Argento. He's written scripts for hire. He's written scripts for movies he's produced. He's written scripts for movies he's directed. He's been on all sides. He's been a hired gun. He's been a script doctor where he didn't get a credit. Jim is going to talk about all of that at our event. It's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. Might have to happen after the Oscars. I just think that we're
definitely
slammed. I'll have to let Jim know that, but we'll get more people. So there you go. But thank you for sticking around for the interviews. You know, we do them like 20 minutes. We make it fun, and it's usually for a movie that you can see. So not only are you talking to the filmmakers, you can see them. So thank you for sticking around. Thank you for your dedication. And it's great to see someone like Drinkers say, you know what? I can do it. I'll do it myself. Throws on the Infinity Gauntlet. It's a Marvel reference. No one knows Marvel No one knows Marvel references.
That was so long ago.
That was when Marvel was good.
Thing?
That was when Marvel was good. Tina Guzman.
Yeah. Way back.
Because I love the interviews. Thank you, Tina. Appreciate that.
Remember Phase
Thank you, everyone, Lord Thoth. And Ms. Peacoffey's saying thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Appreciate
this is the moment
it.
where Chris doesn't know how to end the stream.
I don't know how to end the show. Blackstar 1069 says cringe. Is that because of how I'm acting right now? All right. There you go. Yeah. What's a Marvel, says Lord Thoth.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for us. Thank you for sticking with us. We will be back on Monday with a very special versus Alan.
Let's get out of here.